Hello students, in this video we'll talk about the human respiratory system. So in previous video we have discussed about the structure of respiratory system in different organisms, even in lower organisms how respiration is there, and even in higher organisms, right, aquatic and terrestrial, all we have discussed. So in this video directly we will choose the human respiratory system, right. So here in human respiratory system, how to draw the diagram is important, and it involves the lungs. So we will discuss this now, right. So first we have to go through the diagram, that is human respiratory system. So this human respiratory system includes so many structures like nasal cavities, nasal cavities, that is nose. In the nose there is cavities, no, that is called nasal cavities. Next the it leads to uh, the common opening, that is called pharynx. So we call it as, yes, pharynx. And the next part, pharynx. Next larynx. Next you can take the trachea, it is. So here you can mention it as trachea. Next the primary, the bronchial system, you can consider bronchial tree. So instead of bronchial system, so I'll choose here bronchial system. So this bronchial system means here the it's a branches of bronchioles. There are many bronchioles, primary bronchioles, secondary bronchioles. So that is we call it as bronchial tree. So that's why we call it as, there are branches of bronchioles, tubular system is there, that's why we call it as bronchial tree, right. So first we'll see the diagram, right, and how to label the parts. So we should make here first the diagram like this. We have to start here the diagram. So this is what actually the ice box we should show like this. Next trachea. So we can draw the trachea. This is what the structure, actually it's a tubular structure, but it is covered by a ring like structures called the hyaline cartilaginous rings, right. So these are the rings we can show. It is formed by hyaline cartilage, and next it will divide to form a primary bronchioles. That's when we can call it as right and left. So now you can consider this is the right side here, this is the left side, right. So here, so this is the actually voice box, what we are showing here, the voice box here. So this is the structure called voice box. So now we can show the branches instead of before going to show that. So we can draw the lungs. So this is what the lung structure. Yes, these are the two lungs you can draw like this. So at the top the tapering ends are there, at the base blunt ends will be there. So you can show this way the diagram. And as we know that, so nowadays the corona is affecting to the lungs, and such pneumonia, respiratory disorders. So we should know these structures, the lungs, right? So which is helps to dissolve the oxygen in our blood, right, and remove the carbon dioxide. So that's what the breathing, exchange of gases. So what we call in this chapter, breathing and exchange of gases, we can say. Exchange of gases means oxygen is received, and the carbon dioxide is removed from this system only, right? It's very very important, should know this one. So here the again this will divide into number of branches. That's together what we call the bronchial tree. We have to show the bronchial tree, so we can divide the structures like this, number of branches, right? Even if we, before going to understand this one, so we should also know that there are three lobes we may observe here. So in this way there are, yes, so here, but in right lung, this is the right lung, and this is the left lung, right, left lung. So left lung is having two lobes. So I will mention it as these are the two lobes, that is what lobes of left lung, right, lobes of left lung. And these are the three lobes of right lung, lobes of right lung, right. So this is what the you can also show the branches here. So again there are many branches we can show. When we go deep, these are become small tubular structures and appears like a grapes bunch, right, like a grapes bunch can show. And finally there is a air sac will be there like this. So you can show the air air filled cavities, they are air sacs, so alveoli, right. So this is what the bronchial tree, you can also show this number of branches, right. So even this one also can show, right. So whatever number, okay, so you can show many branches like this, like a grape bunch. And finally, so this is what we are mentioning here, this is the bronchial tree. So almost I will finish the diagram first, later on we can mention the all parts. So the truck, actually the these lungs are protected externally by this the skeleton system. That is what in the thoracic cavity there are vital organs are there, including heart. So this is also very important, lungs are also important. That's what we call it as vital organs. So these are protected externally by rib case, right, ribs. So here what I am drawing, the after ribs there is the lungs are covered by there are membranous layers. That layers are called pleural layers, right. So this is what the layer, the lungs are covered, protected by the layers. There are two major layers are we can draw, that's pleural layers, we can say pleural membranes, right. So the membranes, you can show this one. So this is the outer layer, and one more layer I am showing here. right? Can draw like this. And one more layer, can draw it. Yes, these are the layers what we called. So in the labelings we'll see that outer layer is the parietal pleuron or pleura. They are called pleural layers, right? Externally, the lungs are covered by layers called, or the membrane called, that is parietal layer. The outer, I'll mention it is here, outer parietal pleuron, what called, or pleura, pleuron we can say. And the inner membrane called, that is inner one is called visceral pleuron. These are the two membranes which are exclusively the membranes called pleuron, what you call pleura. Yes, pleura. And these are the two lobes for what I have mentioned. And there are ear sacs you can show in this one, so no need to show this bronchial tree. One side here bronchial tree you can show, another side you can show the, yes, ear sacs, right? So this is what you can show the ear sacs, like a bunch of grapes, right? So this is what here it's the left lung is made up of two lobes. There are two lobes you can see, and here in this way, what we are observing, three lobes, 1 2 3. So here three lobes will be present, right? So now we can label all the parts here. First we can take this, what the glottis, the structure called glottis, and externally the elastic layer is called epiglottis, which avoids the entry of food into the this air cavity, what we called the trachea. So which is not allowed to enter the from pharynx, right? Because pharynx is above this one. There is a pharynx and a nasal cavity you can say, and this is what the pharynx. This is a common chamber for the food and uh, air, right? This part is called pharynx, and this is the nasal cavity. Okay, so this is what nasal cavity, and they are open into nostrils as two nostrils, which is separated by the nasal septum. So next, the epithelial structure is also here. So ciliated epithelia, pseudo stratified epithelium will be present here. So actually, which trap the, due to mucus secreting cells, mucus and hair, that can detect and trap the insects even when any foreign bodies enters this nasal cavity. So by sneezing, the air rushes out. So that's what we call sneezing, right? So by that it will remove the that part, such foreign particles, right? So next, so we concentrate here. That's next part, epiglottis, and even there is a small structure. So there is that structure we call it as Adam's apple. So the Adam's apple is a structure, that's what larynx we can say. The next part, the larynx we can say, this part. Okay, so here the in the larynx, at the neck region, there is a what we observe, the bone like structure, so which is extended in the neck. So that is called the Adam's apple, right? We call it as Adam's apple. It's a larynx part, right? So next, there is a the even the epiglottis, so which is uh, epiglottis closes of larynx when food is swallowed, right? So the function of epiglottis, which close the uh, this larynx. The next part we call it as the larynx, or this is the larynx, right? So larynx is also referred as larynx. The front part of the larynx forms the Adam's apple. It's also called the